Hi writers and readers, I'm Christy Stratus, and I recently got an email from a reader asking me what Lock and Key is going to be about and what the plot is. And I looked at the back of Anatomy of a Darkened Heart and I saw that there's a very general description, just a general teaser idea. And I looked around and I couldn't believe I hadn't shared more with you. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about Lock and Key. First of all, I'm like 13,000 words, more than 13,000 words into writing it, so it's well on its way. It's going to be published in April. If it happens to be any earlier, I'll let you know, but April we're looking at right now. And I'm really happy with how it's coming along. After I had to do that big rewrite of the whole thing, I think it's much better now and I am really enjoying writing it. But why is it called Lock and Key? I think most of you know that Lock and Key is a shop in Anatomy of a Darkened Heart. So it's a place that we see, and there are a few scenes, at least two, in Anatomy of a Darkened Heart that have Lock and Key in it. Now, I can't tell you too much about those scenes because they are spoilers. One of the scenes that I can tell you about is where Abigail has new doorknobs, locks, and keys put into the house. Lock and Key is a locksmith, and they actually make all of those three things: doorknobs, locks, and keys, which makes a lot of sense. We are going to see some overlap between Anatomy of a Darkened Heart and Lock and Key. We're going to see the parts that happen in Anatomy of a Darkened Heart that have to do with Lock and Key intersect. We're going to see those repeat, but from Lock and Key's perspective. So it's not going to be just a copy and paste job where you see the same thing happening. It's going to be very different, but the same situation. That's a small part of Lock and Key. It is not the overwhelming majority of it at all. So you're going to see their perspective, and then you're going to see, it's sort of like watching a behind the scenes. You're going to see behind the scenes of the Lock and Key scenes. Besides that, what we're going to see is Mr. Locke, who is the one who owns Lock and Key, and we're going to see him and his employees, how they interact, and that's the most important part. Now, if you remember, Anatomy of a Darkened Heart is character driven. So is Lock and Key. It's going to be the same type of thing in that way. It's also heavily psychological, it is dark, and it is historical fiction taking place in the same time period, but I haven't yet determined whether it's going to be 1840 to 1861 or if it's going to be part of that time. So I'm just going to have to see how that plays out. More than likely it's going to be most of that time span, if not all of it. But I'm going to have to see how that works out, so I'm not going to promise that. There is going to be something in Lock and Key that involves the Whitestone family that was not at all in Anatomy of a Darkened Heart. So we are going to see something new with them, and that's going to be really cool. And I can give you no hints about that at all. The other thing I can't tell you is, of course, you know that Locke is spelled L-O-C-K-E because that's Mr. Locke's name. But why does Key have an E at the end? That's a secret that I can't tell you about yet. But I just wanted to give you that update, give you a little bit more insight into how it's working, how it's coming, what it's basically going to be about, the fact that it's character driven, and I hope to give you more updates along the way. That's it for now, and I'm going to actually get back to writing right now. I'll see you soon.